My guest at this time is Amanda Bowman. She's the founder of the Anglosphere Society. She has joined us in the past to discuss critical British elections. Today, she joins us to discuss British Prime Minister Theresa May surviving a no-confidence vote within her own party, meaning there won't be any imminent elections in the UK. But is her position strengthened or weakened by these results? And Amanda, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I think it's not an easy thing to answer. I think what Theresa May demonstrated is her resilience. It was a significant result, but not an endorsement. And I think she should be pretty happy. She's got a whole year before anybody can try and shake that tree again. And there's no election until 2022. So she's bought herself some time. But the disadvantage is that she's not demonstrated in the past the ability to create, to look at things in an imaginative way and to create the trust and friendships that are necessary, not just for survival, but for building a coalition that will move this whole issue forward.
So the issue, of course, that triggered the no-confidence vote, which she survived, is the inability to get a Brexit plan through the House of Commons. She thought she had one, then she had to pull it on Tuesday when she realized she didn't have the votes to do it. Obviously, it's a complicated issue. It's one that's divisive not only in the party but within the country in general. It narrowly was approved in 2016, and the Tory Prime Minister at the time, David Cameron, resigned because he couldn't defeat it. So is Theresa May responsible for the fact that nothing's gotten done here? Is it just a variety of factors in the UK? How would you describe this?
Well, I honestly think it is you have to look to history here. There's always been this big fissure in the Conservative Party and in the Labour about how we feel about Europe. And David Cameron thought that he had the support of the country to roll through the support of the EU, and he simply didn't have it. And so it was. I think that it was an act of hubris. This is a self-inflicted wound. We could have soldiered on with Brexit with a lot of mumbling and grumbling going on. And some of it really well-founded. I'm not trying to say that it was superficial, and there's some real issues around sovereignty. But honestly, we are in the country is so tired of this, and I don't know what's going to happen. I think in one level now everybody's got to say, oh my God, we've got another two. We've got to soldier on till March, when the decision will be taken. I personally hope that there will be another referendum, because I think a lot of the people who supported the idea of Brexit are seeing the implications of it and would not vote the way they did in June of 2016, because it's done immense damage to the country. And I'm not saying this from an ideological point of view. I just think that people have seen how the chickens have come home to roost, and it's not a pretty picture.
So did the Tories keep her? And I guess different members have different reasons for how they voted. Did they keep her because they just didn't want to deal with elections, or because they think she's doing a decent job?
I don't think it was necessarily that they endorsed the job she was doing. I just don't think there's anybody else who can take on the role. The Brexiteer group, Boris Johnson and others, Michael Gove and others, have demonstrated their inability to step up to the plate. And she may not be perfect, but what's the alternative? It's a terribly pessimistic way of looking at life, but I'm afraid that's probably where the truth lies.
Well, the alternative, of course, is in the party, I guess, is what you're referring to, and that's
Yes,
a whole other question. The Labour Party, of course, would say they're a better option, but then you're getting probably Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister, and obviously he is a very controversial figure. He's had a number of anti-Semitic comments. He's obviously got a more liberal economic approach. What kind of leadership would Labour be providing if he were in charge?
European socialism at its worst, I would say. I mean, he's a person who has no friendship for the United States, who comes from a position, it's a long-held position among certain elements of British politics that is acutely left-wing. It would be a disaster for the country. And like, people have compared him to Bernie Sanders. I can only say he's like Bernie Sanders on steroids. I mean, this guy is so far left, and not got that integrity that you could disagree with Bernie Sanders, but he's a person of integrity. I don't think Jeremy Corbyn's friendships need to be looked into. Right. I don't think he reflects British feeling,
How did he get to be the head of the Labour Party?
Good question. Some of the combination that you had with dissatisfaction with the centre-right of the Labour Party, represented by Tony Blair, and recent Labour governments, and the feeling, I think one of the key issues underlying all this, and it's the same that bubbles up in U.S. politics, is inequality, and the sense that the prosperity that's come to the few in this country, in the UK as well as in the US, we've not been the tide that has risen all the boats, and there are a lot of boats left behind, and that's why Jeremy Corbyn continues to have an exercise and appeal, because people feel they're not listened to and they're left out. And that's what that's about.
Amanda, last question. Do you think we're going to get something on Brexit that can pass the House of Commons? And what happens if you don't?
Well, I don't live in the United Kingdom anymore, so I shouldn't opine about that. But I think the very best thing that could happen is that we could do the referendum over again. I think that would be the best outcome. But whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know.
Do you think
that would be the best outcome?
Do you think it would have the same result?
No, I don't. I think it would narrowly pass and we would remain in the EU.
Well, we'll certainly be watching. Amanda, thanks.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I don't think a lot of people would be very happy that we're just going to vote on this again because we couldn't figure out how to make it work. But sometimes that's what happens.
No, but also the suffering that's gone on in the country. We've seen the results of the consequences of our choices, and a lot of people would like to have a do-over.
Again, we'll see what happans here. There's a little bit of time left to get it through, but that may be where things end up going. Amanda, it's good to have you with us again. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you so very much, and happy holidays to everybody.
And very much the same to you as well. Amanda Bowman, founder of the Anglosphere Society. I'm Greg Corombos reporting for Radio America.